Move on to somebody who's gonna, I think, has a bit of an upward climb here to regain some fantasy value at least. Allen Robinson, who just posted his career lows across the board. So I would say Allen Robinson's probably ripe for a smaller deal than he would have gotten. It's definitely that smaller deal than he'll get when he tested free agency before, I believe, 3 years ago when he chose the Bears. Reportedly over the Packers. So I'll go with Coop first as far as this goes. Where do you see Allen Robinson maybe rebuilding his stock a bit here?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of where he's at, he probably at this stage in his career wants to get one big contract with as many years as possible. Like when you're in this age, it's kind of hard to play the two contract game. So for him, if he can go somewhere that has a bunch of money, has an opening in terms of targets, and he can be a focal point for a long term, that's where I'd go. Right. I look at the Detroit Lions, and like I talked about with some of these other teams, you have Amon-Ra St. Brown, who can play flanker, he can play slot, but he's not really big enough to play split end. He's not particularly fast, so he's not going to be a field stretcher either. Allen Robinson would slot right in there. And not only that, but if you go to Allen Robinson's Twitter and go to his likes, you can see the tweets that he's liked recently. And over the last couple of days,
creeping Allen Robinson Twitter, man. You're digging deep.
Sure, dog, for sure. So he liked this tweet.
Gotta grind those edges, man.
He liked this tweet from Lions Pulse. It just says, Allen Robinson to Detroit, make it happen. Allen Robinson went to that tweet and clicked like. The tweet underneath that, but from a Twitter account, Brad Holmes, Kyle Hamilton is the value. Brad Holmes is the GM for the Lions. He says Allen Robinson, age 27, over past 2 seasons, 200 catches, 2,397 yards, 13 TDs, nastiest route running, consistent catch rate. Just basically talks about why he should be with the Lions. Like all these clips he's liking are things he's liking are basically things saying he should go to the Lions, and also videos of him torching the Lions. Like he's just liking videos of him just absolutely scalding the Lions too.
Somebody should tweet at him, go, "Hey, the quarterback's Jared Goff." He's like, "Where's the dislike button?"
I think he
well,
might.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
I'm like, is he liking it because it's like highlights of himself, or because he actually wants to go there?
I mean, if there was a tweet out there that showed how much salary cap each of these teams had, he would probably like that too. And I think that's the part that he likes best about the Lions right
now.
Yeah, I mean, Robinson kind of chased the money when he went to Chicago before, so I've got him going to the Jaguars. I mean, they clearly have a need. They clearly, with Marvin Jones, Laviska Shenault, they need that. They need that top receiver for Trevor Lawrence and for his development. I mean, they brought in Doug Peterson as the quarterback whisperer. So I think that a move to Jacksonville, they have money to spend. They have the number 1 overall pick. They've got a lot of assets where they can, they're pretty decent offensively. They've got pieces there. We know James Robinson is probably coming back in mid-season, but they still have ETN. They can rebuild that line. Maybe they can, get some pieces in the draft too, but they can certainly add and be at the very least competitive. And then if Trevor Lawrence, glows up in year 2, then I mean, I would say a weak division, they could certainly make a little bit of noise. Allen Robinson could certainly get back to that 150 targets in Jacksonville. Absolutely.
Alexa, play I'm Coming Home. Right? Back to the Jags.
Yes, the reunion.
They should go out and get Marquise Lee back too.
Yeah, why not?
Well, you mentioned a weak division too, and I think that that's even magnified by the fact that the Colts sent Wentz to the Commanders, and that Tannehill might not be the Titans quarterback this season. There's a lot of uncertainty in that AFC
Commander
South,
Carson.
So. Oh God,
that division is so bad.
I can't even. Drake, you're with me in that division. You feel it. It's just kind of embarrassing.
That division sucks. It is what it is. But yeah, I don't see Tannehill going anywhere. I mean, who else are they going to get to play quarterback in Tennessee this year? If not for
Mariota.
Tannehill. I mean, you had the number 1 seed.
I like to play I'm Coming Home again.
Are we adding that to our clips now?
I think we might have to. Here. I think we might have to.
We will.
Yeah, we don't have any appropriate clips for that situation.
Yeah,
him going to play.
Go next.
Him going to play with Ryan Tannehill. That's this one.
It makes no sense at all.
Last week was the one week we played 0 clips, so we need to hit these hard this week.
Yeah. I don't
True.
know if Jameson Tyone was ready for the clips, though.
Wasn't ready for underdog, certainly.
Yeah, he did well though. I was impressed by
Yeah.
his draft. He did a good job.
Yeah, he did.
Anyway, Drake, what do you got as far as Allen Robinson and a potential landing spot?
So last year was a total disaster. We just got to throw that out the window. But I mean, just look at the frame of work here. We've got Allen Robinson, 6'2", 220. He's a big guy. Last 2 years, 150 plus targets each year. 1,250 yards 2 years ago. At over 1,100 the year before that. I'm not like a film breakdown guy. I'm never going to act like I am. But I listen to smart guys who are, like Greg Cosell. And Greg was even saying in a recent pod, he goes, Allen Robinson cannot separate anymore. He's clearly lost a step, so he's not going to beat you at all over the top. Now, entering his 9th year, what are we going to get from him? I don't know. I think he could be kind of like one of these just grinder kind of, I'm going to win physically versus, man coverage kind of guys. Maybe he gets 10, 12 mil a year. I've got him going to the Dolphins just because the Dolphins have a ton of dough. And now you got this new offense. I don't know if they're going to keep Devontae Parker around. Devontae Parker now pushing 30 years old. And, we've heard the infatuation with Waddle down there with the new coach. So let's see if we can get on the other side of this, Allen Robinson to go along with Waddle and really trying to make some fireworks here and to be a great safety blanket for Tua as a guy who you can just find underneath. You got Gesicki now, lining up more as a traditional tight end. And you'll have Robinson on the side opposite Waddle. So Dolphins, you've got all the money in the world. Make something happen here, and he would look good in the turquoise.
Dude, that would be insane because they could use Gesicki as a traditional tight end and then pivot right to 4 wide receiver sets without even substituting anybody on the field. You just move Gesicki into one of those slot roles, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like that would be a pretty spicy offense if they could pull that off.
Yeah, I mean, you look at all the money. I mean, the Dolphins have $49 million in cap space right now, according to the website I'm looking at. So you got to spend it on somebody. They already paid all their corners last year. Go get some weapons for Tua.
Yeah, that's after tagging Gesicki. They did have like 60 mil yesterday. So, I mean.
Yeah, they kind of did an amazing job.
Tight end,
amazing job with the rebuild. The way they did the rebuild is amazing. Let it get all the comp picks, carry all the dead cap. It's exactly what the Lions did last year. And I imagine that the Seahawks are probably going to try and do something very similar. That might be the formula, is just like, Kev, right? The old ghost ship with filled with
The
dead
skeleton
cap.
crew.
Yeah, the skeleton crew, ghost ship, dead cap just burning off into the sunset as it hits the water. But I mean, that's kind of the way to do it, dude. Scorched earth. So Britt, who did you think you should go to?
So this is probably very out there and not a lot of people think this, but I have him going to the Raiders. I mean, the AFC West is a super stacked division now, and the Raiders are about the only team who don't have a serious downfield threat. I mean, they've got Renfro, they've got Waller, but they're really lacking, like with Bryan Edwards and whoever else they have. The Raiders were also 4th in pass play percentage last season. And I don't think that that's going to change now that Russell Wilson has entered the chat. Like, I really don't. Derek Carr, he doesn't really throw a ton of deep balls. I think it's only like 11% of his passes go for 20 yards plus. But that's because he doesn't have any deep ball threats. I think if you get a receiver who can run the field, then his pass play and his choice is going to change. And then people can't focus in on Waller. They can't focus in on Renfro. And just with, oh my God, that strength of the AFC West, I don't think that he's going to run the ball a whole lot.
Yeah, I mean, people might not realize that they think that Waller used to play. It's kind of an odd misconception. People think that because he used to play wide receiver, he plays a ton of wide receiver now. He really doesn't. Like, some of these tight ends play a ton of wide out. He played like twice as many snaps in line as he did in the slot or out wide. So I love what Britt's saying, because you have this true inline tight end. If they continue using that way, you have Renfro in the slot, and now you have a true weapon on the outside. And that doesn't mean that you don't use Bryan Edwards, because I mean, 11 personnel is the game a lot of time, so he can still play too. You lose Zay Jones, they don't really have anything else, so I like it. They have the money for him, right?
Yeah, they got quite a bit of money, but I mean, I still remember when people were trying to make Brian Edwards a thing, and now he is
Expired.
You guys with the clips.
When did you add that, dude?
I added that last week. I'm sorry,
I'm-
he's expired. I mean, Zay Jones is a free agent. They, like I said, they need somebody to play off of Renfro and Waller, and that is a pretty good spot. They're going to find a way to get some kind of receiver in there, whether it's through free agency or spending capital on one. But yeah, that's a good spot too.